Okay, guys.
Chris
Why
is
don't y'all
ready.
do the fucking show? Because it's so goddamn easy. You guys got it. Okay, here
What's
we
up,
go.
Bo? How you doing?
This is a Bo and Sam pod.
There you go. Hey, no, we started the pod.
We started the pod.
Yeah, I'm going to start the pod this way. I'm going to set the fucking scene. I'm about ready to break through the glass here at Blue Wire Studios. It looks like it's like triple pane, but I think I could run through it right now.
Prove it.
Sunday night, Bo's got a boot full of beer. I got one of my best friends in the world, Sam Bradford, in the building. He,
I'm right here, bro.
Oh yeah. So he's making Sammy B is making his green light debut. Sam, one of these days we're gonna actually have a proper sit down.
Okay.
But tonight we're just gonna talk about foosball.
That's all we're good for, bro.
And how much fun we had in the sportsbook.
I think we're just trying to, let's just take the stress off of you tonight. Me and Bo got this.
Why don't you guys?
Let's talk
Why don't you
about
guys do the fucking show?
Instead of running through the glass, there's a door right there.
No, well, here's the thing. Here's what's happening here.
You go to dinner.
Here's
we'll
what's
do
happening
this,
here.
and then we'll
Here's
meet
what's
you at
happening here.
dinner.
Set the
It's no
stage.
big deal. Like,
Everybody knew that we had to do this show Sunday night, last night in Vegas. We're leaving butt crack of dawn in the morning. So, I haven't eaten in quite a while.
We can't tell.
Right. So we have to, Sammy B wanted to do dinner after this. Bo, you want to do dinner
I want
too?
to do. It's my birthday tomorrow,
people
Chris.
eat dinner.
It's
Yeah.
1
that's
a.m.
like
on
a
the East
normal,
Coast, bro.
like,
1 a.m. That's time has no meaning in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, except for when you guys want to go home early.
so you just don't eat in Vegas? Like you just come and skip?
So largely what I do when I
Feeds
go
off
to
the energy
bro,
in
you
the
know
air.
this. You've been coming to Vegas with me for years.
how does that work?
You know me. I'll get, some chicken tenders to the room, the whole thing. Like I go to dinner more when I'm with Sam than ever.
I do remember the 1 year. It's been a long time, but we spent a lot of time in the sportsbook.
Yeah.
And all you ate was like potato latkes or something.
Oh, they were really good, bro.
I don't even know what it was,
They
but
were really
like
good.
Well,
literally,
here's the thing in Vegas.
it was like
once
7 orders.
You start to eat something, and then like your bets hit, and you're like, "Fuck, I guess that's what I'm eating." You know?
Or
No,
or you're at the club or like whatever, and you sleep until as long as you can. We get Reed sometimes will be like, hey, 7 a.m. I'm going out to the buffet. I haven't been in fucking buffet once.
No, me neither.
Hey, we're just gonna stay up
I haven't
all
been
night.
there once.
Stay up. Go
Okay,
to the
so that's
buffet.
what I'm
Oh,
asking.
Yeah.
Reed, come on.
So
6
here's,
a.m.
so here's what's happening.
Okay.
If I go to dinner, I'm gonna punish you guys by getting you so fucking drunk.
Chris,
We're
it's
gonna
my
be out
birthday
until
tomorrow.
until
It's
the
his
plane.
birthday tomorrow.
It was Sam's birthday last week.
So if I go to
I will-
dinner,
okay.
If I go to dinner, here's the deal.
No, not if.
Here's the
No,
deal we're gonna make. If
we're-
I go
we're
to a
going
10
dinner.
o'clock,
It's not if like.
if I go to a Mediterranean dinner with you motherfuckers,
Mediterranean.
Why
I like
is it
who eats at
Mediterranean?
10 o'clock, 1 a.m. East
No,
Coast time.
we're in the Vegas is the Mediterranean.
Okay.
Mediterranean.
We're like on the Amalfi Coast. Dudes are eating at 2 a.m. They're just eating pasta. All right, so if I go to dinner with y'all till 3 a.m. East Coast time, because I got to get, we all have kids.
Time doesn't have meaning in Vegas.
Then
You can't fly.
y'all can't go home until I go home tonight. You can't return to your room until I.
But you have to
decide
gamble
go.
with us.
Yeah.
Like Bo and I are going to gamble.
Sure. I will.
Chris, Sam and I have been vibing on the table.
Like, we've been having a
losing.
great time.
We've been having fun.
We've been
You
having a
don't-
good
You don't
time.
go to win. You just go to buy memories.
Yeah, like
Guys,
literally.
I want to make sure we understand the terms of this deal. If I go to dinner and have to pay a bunch of money to eat something I could eat that they just delivered to the room in 30 minutes, I could eat an edible,
It's not.
watch a
The
movie.
room service is like the laziest form of Uber Eats. It's not as good, bro.
It's great. The
You had room
here
service
is
for
terrific.
breakfast.
It's good, but there's a point of no return with
So,
room
I
service
just-
where you're like, okay, I've done room service for like 5 meals in a row.
And I
Yeah.
haven't.
I
Because
mean,
I've
you
barely
have.
eaten while I've been here. Okay. So here's the deal. If I go to dinner, I don't care if it's gambling or what we're doing, but y'all are not going back to the room till I say I'm
Chris,
going back
it's
to
my
the room.
fucking birthday, my
Okay.
boy. I'm in.
Is that a deal?
Okay.
Deal?
Deal.
Okay. We're going to be out till 5 in the morning.
But that's yeah.
I mean,
Vegas,
yeah.
bro.
Okay.
I will say the last
I mean,
time we
we'll
were in
see.
Vegas, I woke up to a text I woke up at 9 a.m. to a text from Chris, time stamped at 6 a.m. said I'm going to bed now.
Yeah, well, I got to let the young boy
Impressive.
know. Reed was
Yeah,
out
yeah.
here.
Young boy.
The third night, Reed was like, no mas. I was like, yeah, I can still do it. But, tonight I wanted to be a peaceful man. I wanted to go back to my room. I
could tell.
But you guys brought it out of me.
Chris chose violence.
It's going to be 4 a.m. It's going to be 5 a.m., bro. Okay, that's good. We got that out of the way.
Why do we have to set like a time though? Like, how about we just like see where the night goes? We have fun. We do
now
our
he
deal.
wants to see where the night goes.
I think what Sam's saying is like we might be on a heater at the table.
Like literally, like what? I mean,
If you're on a heater,
why do we have to set a time though? Like
it's
I don't
not a
understand.
time.
I
I'm
don't
not setting a
understand
time.
that.
I'm not saying. I don't
Chris,
know how
you
long
say-
dinner's
you
going to
say,
be.
Hey, Bo, you're going home when I go home. I'll just
You're
get on
going
your
home.
flight, dude.
We're all. Hey, you know, like when they.
We're gonna give out a Miller Lite mention for whoever can stay out the longest
You
between
know,
you three.
hey,
It's
I'm not going to bed. Hey, you know when preschoolers they're walking on the side of the road, which looks pretty fucking unsafe anyways because they're by the side of the road. Okay, take them fucking the path or something off the side of a 35 mile, but they're all tied together. That's how y'all are going to be with me tonight.
No, Chris is gonna be the leash kid. We're gonna.
Yeah, I don't.
like
I'm
Vegas
not
is
sure.
just an
I don't
adult-
understand that.
It's an adult amusement
I
park.
mean-
is what Vegas is.
We
right?
are tethered.
We just had a conversation where you told me you do what you want to do, like I do what I want to do. So like,
So I'm
That's
not going
just-
to dinner. I don't need to pay $8 billion to eat a little piece of fish
I'm
and.
hungry, bro.
you don't
Okay.
want to hang out with us though.
Can we watch a movie? I want to hang out with
three
you and
of us watch a movie?
Let's go back to the room and watch a movie. Just three dudes watching a movie. Huh?
Vegas.
I'm
All
probably
right,
out.
so this is going to be a fun night.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
I'm in.
My speed just
What
changed.
movie are we watching?
All right, cool. So we watched a lot of football today.
Well, here's the thing. We're at the Sportsbook, and there's 9 games going on at once. There's fucking, little ticker tape, data. I feel like I was plugged into the Matrix, bro. That's bad for a guy like
Too much
me.
stimulus.
You know
for
the Mr. Krabs meme?
Yeah, you were
that was
Mr.
me.
Krabs in the sports book.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So like I'll watch 80% of one game. Today at the Sportsbook, I was watching 5% of 6 games.
So that's generally what it's like to do a show on Monday morning of an NFL season. We sit there in Charlottesville, and we got the good setup now. We got how many TVs? 5, 6 of them now?
At least 10.
At least 10.
Yeah.
Sometimes Ree's got the laptops out, the whole thing. And it sucks because you're like, I would love to watch. I wish they would stagger games more.
Well, but I feel like it's amplified in Vegas at the Sportsbook too because people, your average fan is very invested at the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Probably more so than the players. We hear that a lot. But
Yeah, we do.
At a Sportsbook, people are really invested.
Hell yeah.
So like people will be cheering for a big play, and then you're trying to find it. You know what I mean?
We watched somebody, the Rams and and we'll talk about them in a little bit, and the Cardinals today. It didn't look like that total was going to go over to save anybody's life. And there was a guy that we were talking to in an Eagles shirt. Shout out to that guy from Texas somehow.
Yeah.
And he had bet the over on that game, and I just was watching him the whole game, stew and stew. And there's a kinship when you know what somebody has.
Yeah.
You want that person to do well, unless you're on the other side.
Man.
And then there's kind of a code where you're like, okay, where is the line on like hot dog and making
like
too much noise?
Yeah. Like you want to know, but you don't want to like fuck up anyone's mojo
You
a
don't
little
want
bit.
to rub it into somebody else.
Everybody who was cheering the Titans, that was too much.
You think it was too much for you?
Yeah,
Well, there were some
I couldn't
people-
handle it.
There
So,
were some
those
sad
people out
son
there.
of a bitches sadly invested in the Broncos game too in the Sportsbook.
Yeah,
Cowboy.
every Sunday? dude?
Exactly.
Poor guy, man. Every
Exactly.
Sunday, Cowboy Reed is.
I'm
is
trying to
brother.
ride. It's just
Here's something
difficult.
that I thought was fucking amazing, and Sam, not to put you on the spot, but like we're sitting there in the Sportsbook, we got a nice little setup. Chris, you and I are watching a lot of football, and Sammy B is running back and forth. He can't even touch the football because he's so interested in the horse races. I love that.
Bro.
That's
Incredible.
amazing.
And you try to sell me on a lot of things, like
It's amazing.
I mean,
Yeah.
you talked about your experience today. You were trying to watch football.
Yeah.
I was trying to watch football, and then like 7 horse races at the same time. Bro, I had no idea what was going on. Like he
love
was like
that.
tapping me like, hey, the Vikings are about to score. I'm like, bro, I just hit this exact
Leave me the fuck alone. But
at
you hit a
Gulfstream.
huge horse
Like
bet.
I don't care.
Dude, winning on a horse
And it's
race
like-
hits different though. Like when you hit
Oh,
the big
bro.
one.
And you just hit them all the time. Like
out.
you guys are waiting 3 hours to figure out if you win this bet.
betting horses.
I
is like-
literally wait 90 seconds
It's like the OG form
and
of
figure out
gambling.
if I won this bet.
That's like a very,
It's just constant action.
Yeah.
no, and you try to sell me on it. I just
That's
can't.
Bro,
OG
you would
gambling.
you would love it.
Yeah.
How do you think
you're-
the horses feel about it?
mean,
I'm
when
just
they
joking.
win,
That's not. I mean, like,
I think when they win, they
certainly
feel. I
care.
think when they win, they feel great about it.
Hey,
like,
probably
you know
the same,
what blows
probably
me
the
out?
same as the horses feel the same way as the
How
football
did,
players.
don't say that. Don't say that.
How did you feel? Like you're just a horse out there on the field.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And the horses, man, like in the history of horse racing, how much of a mindfuck is this? No horse ever knew it won.
No, I think they know.
You think they know?
Yeah.
Bro,
You think they know that they
I think
won?
they're competitive.
You
Yeah.
think they know they did something?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Like 100%.
Yeah.
Giving these steeds
Hey,
a
when,
lot
they
of
know.
when
credit,
a
man.
stud horse like
Bro.
Seabiscuit, when he's getting his, I don't know.
Seabiscuit.
You're about to talk about his.
I was about to
You're about to talk about
about
his dick.
when
You're about to talk about Seabiscuit.
I'm trying to. This is a family podcast, Chris.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying, like, when you're getting milked, when you're a stud getting milked
Yeah.
for your lineage,
Yeah,
you know you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
your bloodline. The
Bro, I
blood,
think-
when
So
they're
there's a
put,
lot
when they're
of
filling up
comparisons to be made between those horses and us.
when they're
right?
filling up the bloodline bucket. You know, no, but anyways, it was I'm looking over Sam's betting horses, and all of a sudden I look up. There's horses pulling like buggies and shit. Like, what kind of shit is that? You don't even.
That's like
I do not bet on those.
Yeah, what is that?
If you get, those are chariot races. If you get to that point, you
You're
have
a
a problem.
degenerate.
Like
You
you have
remember that-
you have a real problem.
tell. Speaking
Yeah,
of having
that-
a problem, tell the story about the Flames totals.
Oh man. So that was
How many years ago was that?
Bro, that
We've
was
been
a
coming
long-
to the Wynn.
probably like 10 years ago.
I don't want to put you on the spot. Tell a bad
No, I
story.
love that.
I mean, I'm gonna have
Here-
I'm gonna try to recall this, but you were ice cold. It was March Madness. You're like literally 2-12.
It was bad.
So
Chase Long.
I mean, it was rough. And we're sitting in the book, and he's got all of his cash laid out on the floor. Like it's literally he's counting it. It's all on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's like, I talked to my buddy. I know my next play. And we're like, North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, like, where are you going?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just thinking like basketball schools, like he's got to play. He was like, hockey. And we're like, really?
Just bad totals, bro.
Hockey. He was like, Calgary Flames. over 7.5.
Yeah.
Which seems like a lot of goals in a hockey game
Yeah,
to
not
me.
out west, bro.
But apparently it's not.
Not out
That's
west.
the Flames.
Actually, that bet didn't hit. I think they ended up at like 4 goals or something.
No,
I fucked around. I was feeling so cocky today. I bet a little hockey on the low. I didn't tell you guys that.
Today?
Yeah, I wasn't chasing. I just put like $100 on a little juicy hockey.
Oh, you got to
bet.
share your bets with
Yeah,
your
tell
boys.
us
Half
about-
the fun of betting is like getting invested in your buddies.
Yeah.
This was a like put the
Tell
phone
us
away
about, like,
and
yeah,
put 100 on something and
See, like we were getting into it. Chris is betting hockey on the slide, not even telling.
Okay.
You.
Well, I
So-
mean, I feel like the whole trip has been like me and Bo having fun, enjoying each other's company,
here we go.
the camaraderie,
Here we go.
Yeah.
blackjack, you know, like
Yeah.
we're just doing it. And then
And tonight it's going to be more of the same.
you're just
guys.
kind of
I can't wait. I can't wait.
you're kind
Matter
of over
fact-
to the side.
Matter of fact,
you know, on
let's
your
start
own
right now.
I got a fucking boot full of beer in front of me, dude. Hey, cheers.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers.
We're going to talk about that Germany game. I want to set the table, though. Let's talk about the game of the year first. Can we talk about the game of the year first?
Yeah.
Because, listen, we're not doing America's teams. We usually do this thing where we do a list of America's teams.
Right.
Top 5 America's
Yeah, like the
teams.
St. Louis
Okay.
Rams.
St. Louis Rams, yeah, forever one of America's teams. Okay. I'm not doing a list. There's one team on the America's teams list for me. That's the Minnesota Vikings. They are America's team.
Yeah.
Because
Skull.
they saved my family, bro, today.
Yeah.
To take you back to this week, and Reed was in there. And, you know, I get shit wrong. Like, but
Oh, no.
sometimes I come
No.
in. Yeah, no, but I come in, I'm about to gloat. Well, no, I'm not gloating in this situation because I come in and I'm like, guys, I got a tip. Josh Allen's not playing. It was like Wednesday or whatever it was. And I'm telling dudes because, you know, dudes get mad when you don't tell them you have a tip. But then when the tip doesn't come through, like Josh Allen all of a sudden.
And you're generous, so you pass out tips.
I try to pass
Yeah,
out
you do.
tips. But, you know, when Josh, you know, Saturday, they did not bring up Matt Barkley. That was like red flag number 1.
Yeah.
You know?
Because
And,
you're only going to bring up Matt Barkley if you really need him. you
yes.
know?
And exactly. And the no disrespect. But the line's moving, right? It's moving throughout the week. Like it looks like he's not going to play. Line's down to like 3. I forget what it got to. But then it goes back up and balloons to 6, 6.5, 7.5.
Yeah.
So I put a fucking Kia on like a used Kia on the
Used.
Minnesota Vikings. So just not just the pressure of winning that bet, but also the pressure of my friends winning the bets because I gave them out. I was giving them out to a few people. I was giving that tip to a few people.
How many of your friends do you think follow your actual bets though? Or how many people like you think?
Well, we got a whole podcast about it, so
Yeah, evidently something's good. I mean, it's like, but bottom line was that game to bet on that game to win. So I had Vikings +6, which is important because at the end of the game they missed an extra point. And that became pretty complicated. And then you go to overtime. Yeah. And I thought that game was over 5 different times, 5 different ways.
For sure.
Everybody did.
Yeah, everyone did.
But that's why the NFL betting on the NFL is a crack. And so like this is my first time where, you retire, you're not allowed to be in a sports book when you're an active player, and things like that. So this is my first sports book experience. And it's fucking awesome.
It's drugs, dude.
Yeah.
It's drugs.
Bro,
It's great.
It's like the dopamine that was going through my body when Justin Jefferson caught that ball on 4th and 18
Yeah.
was like I thought I had a sack.
Yeah.
I felt like my body was like, oh, you just sacked somebody. You haven't felt that way
in a while.
since 2018.
I'm getting the high of football, without taking on a single double team. What a treat.
But it was legit. I mean, the ending was insane. I mean, let's start with this. Josh Allen.
Well, your first mistake, Chris, is counting him out because that's a tough motherfucker.
Who, Josh Allen?
Yes.
No, I know.
He's going to play through shit.
I know he is. But
he doesn't want Matt Barkley out there.
And ultimately it's and it would have been Case Keenum, who can play and was 2-0 last year. Right. Like, I could see that team rallying around, each other when you have a backup quarterback playing.
Yeah, sometimes it'll galvanize your team.
Yeah,
we really got to be on our shit.
You got to be on your shit, right? Yeah. So it really comes down to this in that game. I mean, like Kirk made some big throws. He also made some terrible throws, right?
That's Kirk, baby.
But Josh Allen has to play better in these money down spots. Yeah. I mean, like, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I think it's him, Patrick Mahomes. There's a couple guys like that are just otherworldly.
At the end of some of these games lately, like today, it was like 2nd down when he threw that pick.
That's the one.
Exactly.
That's the one. Exactly. I get throwing the pick on 4th and 2.
Right.
Totally.
And people can say, 2 picks, all this stuff. Yeah. Well, it's one that counted. Because on 4th and 2, everybody was covered.
Right.
And if anybody,
you gotta put the ball up on 4th down.
You got to throw the ball, right? But if I'm Sean McDermott, I might be second guessing going for it on because
totally.
Reed, help me do the math here, but they end up, if they kick that field goal, they're I think at the end of the game
it would have been 30-17 at that point.
Yeah, they kicked the field goal. They're up 13.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. I mean, that's just it feels different.
That's why it's so fun. Like, just a quick aside here, like breaking a game down with a quarterback, because you guys have such a broader game management kind of view of the game than like me and Chris too in the trenches. Like it's this for me, whereas like for you guys, it's.
I mean, I think one of my.
It's a fun thing to like. You'll say like I was just kind of you were focused on your horse game.
I was, but I mean I think one of the like best parts today is like the Vikings. I think it was like first half, and they ran like kind of like the fake like slip screen and threw it down the sideline. And Chris was like,
"That was
bro,
slick.
That play was so cool."
That was cool.
I was
that
like,
was slick.
Man, they've been doing that for a while now. Like that's like, nothing new.
Fit that
but
ball
Chris
into
was like, "Man, I hadn't seen that
well,
before."
the problem is when I'm on a team, I get real complimentary of them, and I start being like, "I'm like, oh man, this coach, look at him."
That's how Sam felt about his horses.
I felt good.
But the first half of that game, they're dead. Like if you
I mean, honestly, like when Buffalo went down and scored before half, right?
Yeah.
Like you just feel like they've got all the momentum going into half. They're at home. Like it's going to be really hard for Minnesota to get back in this football game.
Yep.
And I think like it's a credit. We talked about it. For Kirk, like it's tough. Like you throw a couple picks. It's hard to win on the road.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat good teams on the road.
Especially teams like Buffalo. Outside
Buffalo. Like that atmosphere, like it is tough to go in there and get a win.
And you know how that feels, right?
Yeah,
going on the road and like every conversion's huge. Like everybody's up on the sideline.
Right.
It's so fucking loud. I was asking you during the game today, I go, I was like,
But I feel like, to be honest, like how good is Minnesota?
I think they're pretty
Like
good.
no one talks about them.
No.
Like
now they will.
I don't watch a lot. Like I haven't been really in tune with like everything, but like I feel like you don't hear much about them. And like all they do is go out there and win.
We
like
laughed
going on the road to beat like I mean
Well, we were joking today because like Minnesota sports fans. I'm from Minnesota, so like I feel a little bit qualified to talk about this. But like Minnesota sports fans are like used to just fucking kind of just like the missed extra point, shit like that, you know, or like Kirkin stepped on in a critical moment at the end of the game.
No,
like,
they're
everyone's
like the
oh, classic.
Chargers of the Midwest.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
everybody's chargering is a verb. Like,
Right.
you know, Clemsoning was a verb for a while, and then Dabo put a bowling alley in the fucking facility and bought everybody. But, you know, people, I was tweeting about the game day.
Yeah.
People were like, "You've never seen a Vikings game."
Yeah,
I was like,
but they're
I
doing
have.
it though.
No. And they won despite doing a lot of
Exactly.
bullshit today. Like
Exactly.
Kirk throwing 2 picks. You told me Kirk's going on the road. He's going to throw 2 picks.
Yeah.
You're going
And
to miss
they're
an
gonna be
extra
down,
point.
you know?
You're going to
Downs
drop
at the
a
goal
pick
line.
6.
Yeah.
You're going to, you know, all that stuff. But Kirk's mistakes they could overcome. They could not overcome that pick late in the game. You're driving to win the game. It's second down. I don't feel like they can stop you. If I'm Buffalo, you know, Josh tucked it and ran for 20 yards twice in the last 3 minutes. I mean, he picks up chunks so easily.
Yeah.
It's like the end of that game when all they need is a field goal.
no, I mean it's like you knew what was coming. Like as they were moving down the field, you're sitting there and you're like, Buffalo's gonna go win this game.
But they're not in overtime if they kick that ball. You know, they're not even in overtime if they kick that ball. So, you know, I look at McDermott on that 4th and 2, and I look at Josh Allen on that pick. But he was amazing. The 3rd and 15, the 3rd and 16, man, late in that game when they needed conversions, it's so frustrating being on Minnesota's side and rooting for the Vikings and watching where there's a TE stunt where there's no contain and Josh just I said to you, I turned to somebody in the sportsbook and I go, he's going to break the pocket to the right and convert here.
Yeah.
And he does.
Can we
He
talk
does.
about
And then he does it again.
Yeah.
Fucking Big Z's got him dead to rights. It's such a tough tackle. You cannot let this guy out of the right side of the pocket.
no. Can't do it.
It's clockwork, man.
Yeah.
But Justin Jefferson, who made like, I don't know what the stat was, but the highest NGS does these like low probability catches. And he's got the most ever since they started charting it. And he was amazing. The 4th and 18 was
Electric.
I mean, like
in
we
the
were, talking,
sportsbook,
we were talking about it in the game, but it's like you just knew like that's where the ball was going.
Right.
Like I didn't matter the play, the coverage, anything. That ball was going to 18 regardless of what was going on.
Yep.
And I don't know what it was. Like I don't know if it was the corner route or whatever, but that ball's not going
that back
to
shoulder ball.
90% of the dudes out there. Like as a quarterback, like most of the dudes, like you look out there and see that coverage and you're like, I'm on to the next one. But him, you're like,
That's why it's
Let's
fun
see.
talking about football
Like,
and quarterback.
Right, because he
I mean,
turned
give
to
him
me
a
when he hit
chance,
him on
you
that
know?
back shoulder, and he was like, he goes, "I'm not throwing that ball to
No.
anybody else."
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and he's just, it's interesting because people were talking about the Diggs trade, who won that trade, Jefferson, Diggs.
Yeah.
Both teams, I mean, have been, but if anybody, it's interesting that, you know, you do get a younger player.
Well,
in
we all
Minnesota,
won. We all won that trade because we all got the fucking game of the year, man.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, we got the game.
And
of the
Diggs
year.
had some great catches too.
It was amazing. And
In that next gen number, Jefferson had 9 receptions today with a sub 50% completion probability, the most in a game by any receiver in the next gen era since 2016.
So-
no other players had more than 6.
guy's unbelievable. And, you know, the Eagles had the weekend off. I know Howie's tired of hearing this shit, but like they're sitting there watching this game. You know, they play Monday. And they're probably like, God damn, dude. It's just every time you watch this guy play, you know, you had your chance. And that's the way things go. But Dalvin Cook was huge for them. He was huge for them
Especially on that last drive
in overtime.
Yeah.
You know, like,
They were getting like 10-yard runs.
Yep.
You know, they just kind of marched on the field.
yeah.
And
not
he get
just
hit and get 6 more yards.
Yeah.
not just, you know, picking up that yardage, but when you on the road receive the football in overtime,
Yeah.
you want to get out of the shadow of your own goal line.
Yeah.
That's scary, right? Like, tough place to play. You punt. Like, next thing you know, you lose the game. You know, it could be a short field. So those big runs they were breaking off were so big. And the biggest play of the game for me was you're down 27-10, and you need to score quick at that juncture in the ball game. And, you know, it wasn't a pass. It was Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Dalvin Cook for 68 yards or whatever it was. I don't know, Reed, how much it was, but the guy that threw the biggest block on that play was Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
81 yards.
Yeah.
81
But that's
yards.
what's fun about it. Like when you're a good team and you play on the road in a stadium like that, like where it's like it's just you and the fucking team, and you feel like it's against everybody.
It's you against the world, dude.
Exactly.
It's that's what I'm talking about. Everybody's up on the sideline. Right. Every conversion's so earned. Yeah. It's 3rd and 7. They had to do so many hard things, like the Osborne 4th and 1, the end around where he's getting tackled. It looks like he's dead to rights. 4th and 6 to Hawkinson. All these conversions, the fucking 4th and 18, bro. Amazing. How far back do we have to go to find a game that was better than that?
I mean, Bills
Chiefs.
Chiefs probably.
But
This had
so
so much
much about an
drama,
exciting
though.
game, man.
This,
It's
bro,
fun.
the
A
NFL
regular season game, probably 5-6 years. At least.
It's wild, and I'm sure we're forgetting some. And people are going to look back and say, "Oh, there's more scoring in Rams Chiefs. That game
From
was like 54-50." But this had so much improbable shit going on. We haven't even
Sneaks
talked
at the
about
end.
them being back. And as soon as they didn't get it. By the way, first off, I'm just all over the place here, but Gabe Davis did not catch that football. So in that situation,
the NFL admitted. They said, if the refs had looked at that, that would have been an incomplete pass.
Yes.
That's how you know it was egregious.
How does that happen though? Like, how do they let that slide?
Because they knew it was going to
review's
come with a
supposed to
great
come from
product
the
in the
booth.
end.
Yeah.
That's supposed to come from the booth.
That's what
And
I'm
the
saying
booth
though. Like,
fucked
how do they miss that though?
Because I saw it in the sports
Everyone
book.
saw it. Like, it was obvious.
I saw it in the sports book.
Right. So like, how do they miss that?
I have no idea. Maybe bring me in. Pay me a lot of money.
Ooh.
Don't have to do this podcast.
You could know.
I can just make a lot of
You
money.
could do
to be
the
a booth guy.
pod from the booth in New
Live
York.
stream.
Live
People
stream.
like comments like challenge that.
100. I mean, bro, that would be.
It was a terrible missed call. And then, on 4th down, first off, they get a drop. Dalvin Cook drops the ball when they're trying to score and win in regulation. Dalvin Cook drops the ball. Then 4th and goal, terrible QB sneak. Yeah. But they're on the inch line, and you're like, they can't take a knee.
No.
Like, they can't kneel. So are they going to take a safety? Would you have taken a
But
safety
the missed
there?
kick, they couldn't, because then if they take a safety, they give the short field,
Right.
and a kick ties it. So
Yeah.
it's like such a random series of events.
Yeah.
Kind of all combined to make it such a fun fucking game, and to experience that at the sportsbook with our boy who was betting on it.
Oh,
It's
it was
fucking
crazy.
great.
And Reed kept putting videos up like, we hit,
Yeah.
Vikings
And then it was
plus
a review.
6.
And then it was
money
another
line.
one.
celebrating
Yeah.
like that since like fucking the NFC Championship.
It was insane, dude. It was insane. And then it hit me like after all that celebration, all that high five. My hand still hurts from high fiving you, Bo.
Ooh.
I was like, I was sitting there and I was like, oh fuck, they could win the toss, go down and score.
Yeah.
And this is a push for me at the very least. Thank God in overtime, if you have 6, you can't lose,
Right.
Because they go into score, you can't do the extra point, right? Something you forget sometimes. I did not forget that today. Huge win.
No,
and
you were telling me that early.
You were on top of that.
And
You
I was like,
made
guys.
mention of that very early on.
yeah.
So
We
along
were-
those lines, like we know.
Oh, and Harrison Phillips, huge sack.
Yes.
And Harrison Smith,
Yeah.
huge PBU.
Yes, Harrison.
Huge PBU. Harrison Smith on the sideline.
Yeah.
At the end of that ball game.
Yeah.
Huge PBU. The Harrisons.
A lot has been made of Kirk, who's like kind of a fucking boring guy, but he's dancing in the plane with the kind of reminds me of Fitz Magic with the chains on and stuff. So probably pretty electric flight back from Buffalo to Minnesota.
I mean, the
after
last
that.
3 for them
Right?
have been
Yeah.
electric.
Come
So
on.
you
You
could
can't
be best
imagine.
player
Yeah,
around.
that might be
Yeah.
up there too. And then it makes you think a little bit about the Bills. Like, what do they have going forward? Because AFC East, that's an interesting.
Bills are going to be fine, dude.
I know,
Like,
but I'm saying like 2 tough losses, kind of the Jets, the
No
Vikings,
question.
like that. Like an emotional loss like that, you can get a little bit. Of a
all you got to
hangover.
worry about is the fact that you might not win the division. That's
a
the
big
hard
concern,
part.
though.
I was more concerned about it earlier this week when I thought he had an elbow injury that was going to keep him out a while. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
He's got to stop making those decisions.
Yeah.
And he knows it.
And then
he knows it.
Yeah.
He fucking
I know.
knows it.
And the thing I like about Josh Allen is he's tough and he kind of owned up to it. You saw him emotional in the presser last week after that loss against the Jets,
But he cares less than Derek Carr.
His mascara was running today.
No, okay, that's not fucking true.
Come on.
No, I'm not going to laugh. The guy's got beautiful eyes
Yeah.
or whatever.
Got those Jeff Saturday eyes.
Is Jeff Saturday got the same eyes as Derek
Same
Carr?
eyes.
That's fucking
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
pickup by you.
Thanks.
All right, so
Before we jump to
Yeah.
Tom and Aaron, you mentioned the Eagles a couple of minutes ago. This is a stat that might make them a little more nervous. There have been 145 teams to start 8-1 or better through 9 games. Only 2 teams of those 145 who outscored their opponents by less than 4 points per game during that stretch. The 76 Raiders, who won the championship, and the 2022
So
Vikings.
to break that down, basically the Vikings are winning close games.
That's right. They are 7. They have won 7 one-possession games this season.
Which is what is every game. I mean, with good teams in the NFL, you feel like it comes down to one possession.
they
every
needed
week.
a win to unlock, the public perception that says they're elite.
Well,
and
and-
they are.
yeah.
They went on the road and they beat the Bills with Josh Allen, who was dealing early.
Yeah.
By the way, almost threw a pick the first fucking possession.
Yeah.
So this is not just the picks.
right.
But the Vikings, we laughed at a guy who put them number 1 in our power rankings back in, fuck me, Kingston.
Yep.
Put them up high in the power rankings. We were all like, the Vikings.
And we laughed at Macon preseason when he picked them to go to the
that
Super
he's gonna
Bowl.
go to that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And I still think they have that in them. But, the thing for me is trusting Kirk for 3 playoff games or 4 playoff games. You know what I mean? Like, those mistakes should have cost
How many
them.
times are you going to need the Bills to fumble the ball and their
The Bills
goal line?
haven't scored. They haven't scored in the second half a lot.
They
So
haven't
they gotta-
scored a second half touchdown since
What does
week
that
6.
mean? What does that mean? You played quarterback in this league for a long
Adjustments?
time.
What
What
is
does it
that?
mean?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it coaches not adjusting?
Man, that's tough. I mean, there's so many things that could go into that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you go into the first half, you usually got your first 15 plays are scripted. You feel really good about what you're doing. You come out, you're on a roll, you're in a rhythm. After you get through those, then it's more on the play caller, judging kind of the flow of the game, what's working, what's not, making adjustments.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, obviously, they played well the first half, and then I don't know if I was too busy watching the horses, so I wasn't focused. But
Well, there's so much to be
know.
said about momentum too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
especially like we said on the road, and you kind of get rolling. And the Vikings, after that big run from Dalvin Cook, it was like what was it, 62 yards, something like that.
Coming out of the second half, do you ever script another set of plays? Just like to start the game, would you ever come out of the locker room and say, I've got 10 more? Or,
I don't know
something
if
like
you would
that?
have 10 more, but, obviously, during halftime, you come up with, hey, these are probably, the runs we're looking at. These are our favorite, 5-6 passes. We'd like to get to these. And then, depending on how the next series goes, maybe you get to a couple of them, maybe you don't. But you definitely have some ideas of the plays that you would like to get to. It's probably not as scripted as it would be in the first half, but, some coaches are better at that than others.
As a quarterback too,
when I get hired to coach like Jeff Saturday,
You have to
I'm
you have to
gonna
coach high
script
school
second
first.
half plays.
Really?
Yeah, curveball.
Are you going to call offensive plays?
Yeah.
That cool, little,
just the
slip
ones
screen.
that-
I'm gonna be
I'm gonna be like,
That's going in day one. I know that. Yeah.
never been seen
I'm gonna be
before.
like, guys. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fake a fucking screen and then take a shot.
No, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a little throwback to our quarterback.
Yeah.
Because those work out really well.
Those
too.
always work out good. But
Dude, I hope Waylon or Luke, I hope they play football and that you coach and you call offensive plays. That way, I would
what kind of offense do you think I would run?
Wing T.
literally,
I'm not smart enough to
I
run a
have
wing
no
tee.
idea. I can't even. I think you would run the ball a lot because I really have no idea. Give me a pass concept.
I'm gonna sail.
China.
What is sail?
China.
Break
I don't know
that.
what the-
Like,
Hey,
say,
979. I can buzzword
you
y'all
guys,
there.
you guys
I'm
are
running a
running.
West
You
Coast
guys
system.
are running the rock.
Hey.
I'm running
Every play.
I'm running a West Coast system.
Sam, we're going mesh.
Just a bunch
mesh
of
all
flat
day.
shit, and fucking, we're gonna have big tight end.
Okay.
Big tight end. We're gonna throw to that
Yeah.
tight end a lot.
I'm just
We're
going to install the
play
NFL
action-
Blitz
play action
2000
shots.
playbook. Da bomb.
We're gonna do a lot of, we're gonna do fake spikes. before the half. Yeah, do fake spikes, the whole shit, fake knees, whole thing. We're gonna blow up teams when they kneel at the end of games.
Okay.
We're gonna-
Sam had to get a little comfortable before he could shit on us. Be like, hey, man, you guys are fucking D linemen, all right?
Yeah.
Just know your role.
He's flexing his.
People are like, stick to
his
sports. He's like,
passing tree.
stick to the.
Guy knows the passing.
Yeah,
tree.
exactly. Fucking
Yeah.
take on a double
Whatever,
team, man.
Sam.
Let me know how that feels.
Yeah. All right. So.
Well,
yeah.
hey, I want to say, the Vikings are coming up. They got the Cowboys at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, transitioning to that, because the Cowboys today against Green Bay.
Well, here's another reason that the league's really happy, right? Because football's been objectively ass this year. Like it has not been.
Not after today, though. I'm back.
That's the point.
I know.
That all it takes is one Sunday.
Yeah.
And we do this for a living, so I'm watching all the games anyways. But like, if I were a fan, and I felt this way as a fan, like I'm like, it's lost its magic.
Well, here's the thing, though. Even if teams are ass and the games are ass, the drama is always elite. Look at Jeff Saturday as a head coach.
Okay, that's fine.
But that's why people tune in sometimes.
No, they don't. But
Sometimes.
no, okay. The NFL has been. If I see another record amount of close games graphics, bro, I don't fucking care because obviously that shit is not moving the needle. If you ask most fans how this year's been, they've been like, oh, it's kind of weird.
And it's
that's because the great quarterbacks have been, two of the GOATs that you can set your watch to. You put them in the 4 p.m. games. They're the biggest show on Sunday. Whether it's Brady or whether it's Rodgers, those teams have sucked. Yeah. And they've suffered that. That game today was awesome. Everybody's going to remember Minnesota and Buffalo. But what Roger Goodell is sitting at home and being excited about is the fact that Christian Watson decided to catch the football, and that, Tom Brady worked the middle of the field to death in Germany. And that, on an international stage, you got Seattle, second most popular team in Germany, and you got the GOAT out there playing a pretty competitive ball game. And it bookended a really
and it
good
got
day for the NFL.
Tight late, and you saw Brady run out the clock. Do exactly what he needed to do. 2 back-to-back fourth quarter.
That's right.
Pitbull's got to move over because I think Tom Brady is Mr. Worldwide.
Is that what Pitbull is?
Mr. Worldwide.
I must be living under a rock.
Tom is
You have that
undefeated in
saved up.
international games. I was
But
waiting for
in that early game, it was
like that one, though.
6:30.
That was second half call.
I like
We gotta
that.
get
He
to
had that
that.
scripted.
I
He
had that
was
ready to
waiting
go.
for the tie.
Mr.
Yeah.
Worldwide, undefeated.
He's
Played in
4-0.
London,
Yeah.
played in Mexico. Now he's got a Germany, he's got a Germany win to his belt.
So if we're breaking down these two games, I mean, and I woke up actually while the game was still going on.
I woke up for the
Tampa and
Bucs.
Seattle.
I woke up for that game.
I was like, oh, pleasant
I got
surprise.
a
I
boot
can't
here.
sleep.
I was eating fucking Wiener Schnitzel yesterday. I was committed to the game.
So great atmosphere in Germany, first off.
Yeah.
Like you can really tell they dig it.
People
And-
had beer
Huge
steins just like
in the
bow,
game. Yeah.
walking around.
That's sick.
But, they
Country
as a-
roads.
country roads, which fuck it, you can have it too. I mean, West Virginia kind of took it from Virginia and Maryland.
Yeah,
If you
that's
studied
right.
geography, Germany has the same claim to that song. Brady played well. Okay, he had the one pick. They dominated the middle of the field, run and pass. Julio had a touchdown. Okay,
Yeah.
people were saying vintage Julio.
Yeah.
It did not look like vintage Julio. Okay, like let's not. But it's effective. They can get him healthy, and he's healthy down the stretch. They're in a division here where like they can kind of plot along and make their gains, and who they're going to be in December is what matters. If they can run the ball the way they ran the ball,
Yeah.
and that's
They
not going to be
committed
every
to
week.
it today, which is interesting because they're
44.
the last. I know.
44 runs.
Rashad White had a fucking nice stiff arm as a young player. Like he looked pretty good
Would you rather be stiff armed on your team's sideline or the other team's sideline?
on yours because then everyone kind of just looks away,
Yeah.
But on the other team, like those guys are fucking in your face.
That was a bad one.
I
Diggs
know.
was right.
Yeah.
He's a really good player,
Yeah.
but he got stiff armed right
Yeah.
on his team's sideline. And Fournette was out.
Yeah.
After a little bit with a hip, after he
Yep.
threw that terrible interception.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. Did you see that, Sam? The Fournette pick? It was early. You were still getting beauty rest, bro.
Yeah.
I was
So-
probably still asleep.
Yeah. So
You guys have talked about a lot of football.
I hope you slept a lot because you're not going to sleep tonight. So
I'm
Monday
just
shift.
trying to get to dinner.
go ahead. Doors
man.
open. Doors open. Hey, you can vacate the pocket anytime and go to dinner,
All right.
Sam.
Hey, if I
Thank
learned
you,
anything about
guys.
Sam from gambling with him, man, in for a penny, in for a pound. He
We'll-
started this pod.
We'll meet you at dinner.
I'll show you
Are
this
you
pic.
going to come to dinner?
If the deal
Perfect.
stands.
What?
You see,
Oh my god.
it's bad. You don't.
Yeah,
Leonard
that-
Fournette, on Twitter later, he posted a picture of him dropping
know,
back to
that's so
pass and
funny.
said QB2.
QB2.
And everyone was like, yo, you throw a pick.
Yeah, that was terrible. I
Yeah,
like the
so
way he
funny.
leaned into
I
that,
just,
though.
I mean,
They were cooking when he threw that pick, and that's
yeah,
my
like
point.
I love Byron too. Like Byron is my guy.
They were cooking.
but I would really like to know what they thought that play was going
Don't
to
throw the
look
ball to
like.
Brady.
Like, what do you think that looked like in practice? Like they told the corner to run like
A lot of
full
cheering.
speed to the other side of the field.
Yeah.
And leave Tom alone. Like,
Nobody's going to contest Tom in practice.
Yeah, like you think someone went up with him for like a jump ball?
Dude, I don't know.
In
what
practice,
hap-
Yeah.
stay away from the quarterback.
I don't know
There's
what
a
they,
ball in him.
I don't know what they were thinking, but they were
Hey, after a win, all's well that ends well, man.
Yeah.
You can fucking throw a pick and then post a photo of it on social media after because you won.
But the bottom line is that the offense looked better.
Yeah.
And Seattle, I got to give their defense credit throughout the year. They've been better than you'd think. But
Well, I mean, I thought the Bucs defense played pretty well too. I mean, Devin White is a guy that I've been I'm a Tampa guy, okay? Because I have a place in Tampa and I talk to all those guys. I hang out with them a lot. I love, when you retire, you're fucking bored and you need to talk to your boys about football, which is why you join a podcast, Sam. He's had a tough week, man. Devin was under a lot of scrutiny because of effort in, losses a couple weeks ago and things like that. And he balled today, man. Like he had 2 sacks, I think, a couple TFLs. His father passed away last
he
week.
learned about that on the plane, like
Brutal.
getting on the
I
plane
know.
to go to London, and his dad passed away.
Which
9
is
tackles, 2 sacks. That was my game ball.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
he just like, and you could tell
Yeah.
the speed of that Tampa defense on the second level.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker hadn't seen that yet this year.
Yeah.
That offense hadn't seen that yet this year. He couldn't get out on the edge. And that guy's been hotter than fish grease, and that's fucking hot.
Yeah.
All right. So
Was that a second half script too?
no, it wasn't. I just thought of that. I just thought about that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
He
right
was
off the
thinking
dome.
about dinner.
That was,
No, he's thinking about dinner.
You'd be a good play caller then, you know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you, I
Like,
appreciate
just
it.
But no,
off
I mean, the
cuff,
Bucs offense has been under a lot of scrutiny, especially because they have the best quarterback of all time. And for them to get a big win against the Rams, and then they go to Germany and get a big win against a very good Seahawks team. Now they have a bye week.
Just be careful.
I'm just
That's
saying.
all I'm
like,
saying. Just
yeah.
let's not get
You know what I mean? Like, you get 2 wins, you can kind of breathe easy a little bit. You can kind of reassess things.
They're going to be a playoff team because the
NFC
division
South is ass.
is ass. So, third touchdown, 36 possessions for those guys was a stat I saw across the screen, one of their earlier touchdowns. So that shows you how bad they've been. And you strung together two good wins here. So, and they're 5-5. They need wild card might get a little interesting. Giants, Niners, who won earlier, and we'll talk more about that game on Tuesday morning a little bit more.
Can't wait.
Because we've been recording, but they're coming off their bye. They'll have the Browns, the Saints, the Niners, the Bengals, the Cards, the Panthers, and the Falcons. And in that division, as bad as it is, it doesn't seem like anything's been easy for the Bucs.
No.
So you really do have to lock in. Okay, and then Green Bay, Dallas.
Yeah.
Aaron, I've been saying this for weeks. Aaron Rodgers is putting the ball on the money, save for those dumb turnovers, down the red zone against Detroit. He has largely played pretty well this year. Somebody's going to be like, are you serious? But he's putting the ball in tight windows, man.
This might be a hot take, but
People are not open, right?
No, but like it's kind of. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's kind of fun to see a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is he's a great player.
Yeah.
He's a fucking great player. To see him throw 3 picks, against the Lions, it's kind of one of those things where like you secretly love it. You know?
Not even secretly. You might have the Lions.
Yeah.
You might be tired of hearing Aaron Rodgers. You might like hearing Aaron Rodgers, at the podium to see how crazy it can be post game.
Right.
Like you might love the chaos of it all. But for me, okay, see y'all.
See, that's dinner.
Hey,
All right, I'm out of here.
okay, see you, buddy.
I love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love
Much
you.
love. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I'm probably not coming to dinner.
No, I'm coming to dinner, Sam. I'm fucking hungry.
So Sam's left. He's gone to dinner.
Thank God.
So
Wait, did Sam want to go to dinner? Couldn't
Jesus
really tell.
Christ, the guy's eating dinner every night of his life. How fucking cool is dinner?
I mean, I'm hungry though. Why do you think I'm drinking these beers, man?
So Dallas and Green Bay. You said McCarthy came dressed as
Lombardi. Yeah.
He had the long tan coat,
Yeah.
walking across the field,
He had
hands in
that
the
outfit
pockets.
picked out, man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been doing the tan coat thing though.
He-
Car coat thing.
No,
He
but
had-
it was a little.
You think he did a little bit too
Yeah.
much Lombardi?
Yeah.
It was. He's, when first day of school, when you set your outfit out, kind of deal the night before. That's kind of the vibe that we all got from Mike McCarthy headed into Lambeau. He was trying to make a statement coming back, and the Cowboys were coming back. I don't know if they were coming back into Lambeau. I don't know if they were necessarily expecting a tough game because the Packers were, kind of reeling a little bit after the Lions loss and things like that. And I don't think they were expecting it to kind of go the way it did.
I just want to say this. You remember when he wore that car coat? Everything was tan. He had like a tan beret. He just had a black mask. Like he couldn't coordinate the mask. Okay, so this was had to feel good for Aaron. And all I'm saying by that is, like, listen, guy's taking a lot of shit. He deserves to take a lot of shit when he doesn't play well.
Yeah.
But this is not a surprise that they figured some shit out today. Especially what surprised me, though, is that Dobbs has been out, and Christian Watson. I mean, that ball's got to feel like it was in the air forever. That first touchdown, 75 yards or whatever it was. They didn't have any offense.
He struggled with drops a little bit.
He struggled with drops. We talk a lot about the Minnesota drop earlier in the year.
Right.
And if you drop this ball, Aaron Rodgers will put you in witness protection.
Blast,
You will never hear from this guy again.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And by the way, the kid who muffed the punt,
Rodgers,
he's had a rough go there, Amari Rodgers.
Yep.
But Watson, a couple big plays. You get him on the 4th and 7 where you absolutely need it late in that ball game. I think you're down 2 touchdowns. They run him out of a bunch. And he's just such a long strider. He outruns people. Same thing on the touchdown. He's running sideways.
Yeah.
That guy probably picks up steam pretty quick. He's a big target.
Yeah.
This is great. And Greg Jennings talked about it. I think this is going to be, what did he say, Reed?
I think he said, like, career-defining moment or season-defining moment for that player.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's not wrong. When you have drops like that, you can kind of get defined by that. So to kind of come up big in a big moment, like, that's very reassuring.
The backflip was sweet too.
What I love too is, like, he caught it, ran into the touchdown, ran into the end zone, kind of paused for a second. I was like, am I going to do this? Then he did it. And it was fucking slick.
And it's got to give Aaron all that confidence throwing him the ball. That's why he went back to them, to Christian a couple times later in the game, and he delivered. But, you had problems confidence-wise, Aaron throwing the ball. He was like, he would always let it go to Christian Watson after that first play of the season. And Aaron, after that drop, Aaron's got to be like in his head, I don't know if I can do this.
I don't know if I can trust him, yet.
This, and we talked about it when we were in the Sportsbook, this has to be a season, a turning point, a launch pad for the rest of the Packers season.
And a couple bad picks by Dak. I mean, hard to tell if they're the receiver's fault or not. I know on one of them,
one looked like it.
It was Rudy Ford, the second pick, probably. But the Cowboys are going to be fine. They're a good team. They were due a loss like this, and the Packers. We'll see if they can make something out of this. I mean, Aaron Jones was terrific.
Yeah,
he's a guy who you really have a lot of respect for if you watch him play. And a guy that at times I've wondered why he hadn't had the ball more.
Well,
and they stuck to it tonight. And at one point, I think in the first half, Rodgers was like 4 for 6 for 75 yards. At that point, Dak had thrown the ball like 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
And like when it comes to their offense, CD has to play really well for them to fire on all cylinders. And Jair Alexander, huge play on 3rd down at the end of the game. On 3rd and 4, breaking up that, I think it was a slant, and then 4th and 4, Jaron Reed, who has to make that play. Jaron Reed has to make that play, or else Dak probably picks up the first down. Preston had taken the edge, and Jaron had come underneath, so he's got to come underneath the guard, inside move, and then work out, to actually be able to finish that off. So. Really big play by the Green Bay defense, which at times looked like it couldn't stop the damn run, and it was really frustrating to watch because Green Bay was a big winner for me.
Here's a question for you, Chris. Outside of pre-game dress code violations, do you think McCarthy's going to be kind of scrutinized for his decision in overtime to go for it on 4th down? Chose to go for it on 4th and 3 from Green Bay's 35 on the opening possession of overtime. And it came up short.
Yeah. I think so, but I kind of like these things are so easy to dissect afterwards.
After the fact. That's a classic Vegas move, just hindsight is 2020.
Twitter move, whatever you want to call it. Listen, I probably kicked there, but I'm not going to skewer him for having balls because
Right. But he got
McCarthy,
angry about it too. I mean, McCarthy was pretty lit. Like,
no, McCarthy, I feel like people think of him as not being aggressive.
Yeah.
People think of him as being kind of vanilla, cookie cutter.
but you could tell he wanted this one, like at back in Lambeau.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And, like you're trying to end it on that possession. You don't want to give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. I think that's what he's saying too. Is like, I don't want to give the ball. If I have a chance to go down and score a touchdown, I don't want to give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers. Then that's, like respectable, at least going for it. I know the numbers don't.
The numbers were about equal either
Well,
way.
so
The win
the numbers
percentage
are
was,
equal.
yeah.
I can't kill the guy.
Right.
It's
And
the context of the game. The call on third down was a little bit more bothersome to me. I'm a big, if you know you're going on fourth down, make sure your third down call is fitting.
Yeah.
And, to throw at the best player in the secondary on 3rd and 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love that.
But also that was a little controversial because the Alexander did get there early. That was what a play. It was a little bang bang, but
my family's just happy Alexander got there. So, big win for them. I hope these two teams, Tampa and Green Bay, pick up some momentum because it's good for the league.
Yeah.
It is. The slates have been
Right.
terrible.
Because you have the GOAT quarterbacks who are kind of, the old guard almost, and then you have the Mahomes and the Josh Allen. So it's kind of a fun comparison to make, and it's fun to see those guys win.
Don't forget Tua.
Tua too. Yeah.
Tua played his ass off today.
Yeah.
he was phenomenal.
Tua made some really beautiful throws today, and we could go. We're about to lose studio time here, so I know some Dolphins fans are probably like, "Oh, studio time, sure." But it wasn't a marquee game, but they balled, and he's 10 touchdowns, no INT since he came back
Since
from that
week 7.
concussion, and that was a scary deal. So
Seriously.
I'm glad he's good.
Yeah, to come back from that so strong. I mean,
And the defense played better against Cleveland, and Melvin Ingram had a 45% pass rush win rate. I love
It's
what
absurd.
they've gotten out of him.
But-
They trade for Bradley Chubb. They lost to Ogba today. They trade for Chubb.
Yeah.
It's a luxury, having Melvin Ingram. He's 30-something years old. He's
Walking
totally
around there with no gloves.
totally different looking than he looked in Minnesota. I mean,
I know, but kind
it's
of
almost
love
like
it.
he plays a different position
I
now.
know. You kind of love it though. I mean, he's still playing really well.
He's made some.
It's like a
huge
Houston
plays
kind
for
of,
them.
like a Justin Houston kind of thing.
Yes.
Almost. Like a late.
And he did it in Kansas City last year.
I know, but it's fun to watch guys like that succeed. I guess is kind of what we're getting at.
Okay, so the other game, the Rams and Miami's in first place in the AFC East, which is
the AFC
not how
East
we
is-
drew it up,
No.
right? I had them finishing second, not first.
This is-
I did not think they would catch Buffalo, and I do think it's a product of Buffalo stumbling too a little bit. Like they should be further out in front, including that game that they lost, and they're going to want another shot at those guys. They're going to get it.
Yeah.
Because the first time they played, I'm not making excuses. Everybody's got to deal with injuries. Buffalo's probably saying, damn, we had a lot of guys down. It was 110 degrees down there. Miami had to play in that heat too. But if you're Buffalo, you feel like, hey, I want to see these guys in our stadium.
They're ready
the
for the
AFC
next
East
one.
is interesting. It just feels so different this year than years past.
It's deep.
I know.
It's
Years
deep.
past, it's one, maybe two.
But the
one, maybe
Patriots are
two
at the
teams,
bottom
and
of
now
the
it's
division,
Yep.
and then
But they're still in it. They're still right there,
know.
nipping at
That's why it's
everybody.
so
Here.
interesting.
Yeah,
But
very
everybody in
compelling.
that division's getting better right now, and the Bills are getting worse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the
Right, but
Bills have big margins because they're very good.
to lose a game like they did at home,
It happens.
I know, but
But being up, that's the part that.
but I
kills.
also think Miami is. Just
we beat that game to
fascinating.
death. We don't need to go back.
Yeah, I mean, we can move on a little
Yeah.
bit. I just Miami is playing hard. They seem like they're playing. They're very
They're
emotional.
fun. They're having
It's
fun.
fun.
They're having fun.
It's
Mike is fun. You can
Is
tell
he
the
a
coach
player's
is fun.
coach?
Fuck yeah.
that right?
Yes.
Like some players coaches are kind of old coaches that have been in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like I think of Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
When I played for him, he's the guy that understands players
Yeah.
in the NFL, in my opinion. And when you have a younger coach, sometimes you don't really know a first-time head coach that's young. You don't really know what you're going to get as a player. And to see him kind of fucking around in the they're playing well, man, and they're good, and I kind of like him. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to.
I wasn't
kind of
expecting it
yeah.
either.
So I think the AFC East, especially the Dolphins, it's very interesting.
I do
to
remember
watch.
Andrew Hawkins calling him the smartest football mind he's ever been around. And that was like, oh,
And he's been around some very good coaching trees.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know?
So, okay, Miami, Cleveland, that was a big win for the Dolphins. They're rolling.
Yep.
The Rams, okay. Oh, I'll start with another team that was rolling in Kansas City and Jacksonville. Kansas City, they got something in Tony. Okay, like that's the lead for me in this game, other than the fact that the linebackers were coming downhill. They were playing with a lot of emotion early. They came to play,
After
right?
that hit that knocked out Juju, they were fired up.
Guys were getting fucking killed out
Yeah.
there at second level. MVS got blasted too. Yeah. Jacksonville, they're physical and typical Dougie P fashion, like the Randy Marsh wheelbarrow award I want to give to him.
Yeah.
Think about going on the road to Kansas City, okay? First thing you do is onside kick, open the game.
But that's great.
No, I know, but I'm saying like you got balls, bro.
Right. Yeah.
You got balls. Like we'll give Patrick Mahomes a short field. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And they were in the game for a little bit, and they had different chances. 2010, like the whole thing, but they got something in Tony. That ball he caught they ran a reverse with him. He had a touchdown, his first of his career, I think.
Well, it's fun when you get a player like that midseason. You kind of get him involved,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's interesting to see how quickly they can get him acclimated.
Right.
Because that ball he caught on the sideline, I don't know how high that guy jumped, but he went up and got that football.
Springy.
Man, you can see there's a lot of guys they have that are good players. Like Juju's a good player. MVS, he adds something. Like Kelsey's a game changer, right?
Always.
But outside, there's a difference between Kadarius Toney and the other guys that he's throwing the ball to.
Yep.
I can guarantee it. They're sitting in the film room tonight and they're saying, "We got something with this guy."
Yeah.
And
This could be something that
Let's get him going.
Yeah. And it's something that the defense, you roll out MVS. What are they going to do here? You roll out Travis Kelce. Okay, he's going to work the middle of the field, but still, that's another X factor that the defense has to worry about. Because
after losing Tyreek Hill, it's good to see it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
his first touch today was 9-yard touchdown catch, his first in the NFL. Then he had a 32-yard jet sweep that set up another touchdown. Then it was the 23-yarder on the sideline that set up another touchdown.
You almost feel like Andy Reid has such a good feel how to get these guys involved, knowing their strengths and things like that. So that's
but he's different. What I'm saying is this is different. From what he's been dealing with. Seriously. All right, so the Rams, man.
I don't have much to say about this one. Chris.
So I got some
horse betting. I was horse betting with Sammy.
I got something to say about it. The Rams, if I could find. So the Rams, I said this on Eisen last week. The Rams have the lowest floor in the division, and today showed why, man. Like I know Stafford's down, but Colt McCoy was playing quarterback for the Cardinals, and I know he's done that a long time and everything. And that's
you just don't expect a ton out of Colt McCoy. You don't.
He's proven that he can win games in spot starts. All I'm saying is the Rams are not very good. And my question is, you're 3 what are you? 3-5 are the Rams. They're sneaky one of the worst teams in the league.
3-6 now.
3-6. I know they didn't have Stafford. But is Stafford the future right now for you? Is he the near future?
Can I give a little 2 cents on this? There's a trend, in the NFL where you go all in on these. Your window in the NFL is so brief, and how it's a copycat league, and we talk about that, and the Bucs in 2020, like you go all in to win the Super Bowl when you feel like you can, and it's kind of like damn the future, damn the consequences. Is that what the Rams are experiencing this year? Because they kind of sold a farm to win that.
Yeah, I think it's offensive line injuries. I think it's a whole host of things. I think it's Stafford's old. I think they miss Von Miller. Von Miller leaving was a fucking gut punch for those guys, and they were willing to go out and overpay for Brian Burns to the tune of multiple first rounders.
Which now they should be thinking.
They should be
thinking. But you try to bring in a vet leader with Bobby Wagner to kind of
Here's the thing, man. To what you're saying, it's fine to play that game that Lesney played, right? They're champs, right? And those guys, it can never be questioned that thing worked out. And they got balls, man. Like they're the dudes in the sports book that are like another one. Like we're just gonna keep firing.
Yeah.
But this year, You're 3-5. 538 has projected them to finish 5 and whatever, 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking insane. They're 3-6 now, right?
3-6 right now. The projections after this game is that they're going to finish 5 and 12.
The games they have left: Saints at Chiefs, Seahawks, Raiders, at Packers, Denver, at Chargers, at Seattle. How many games are they favored in there?
2.
Yeah.
Maybe two. Maybe two.
Maybe 2.
Maybe one.
Raiders, and it's close in both
one.
those favorites. It's within 5 percentage points. It's
Saints,
the
I don't know,
Raiders
Saints
and
went
the
up to
Broncos.
Pittsburgh and looked terrible.
Yep.
Okay, but here's the deal: you have a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6 next year in the draft. Do you move a storied veteran?
Yeah.
Do you trade,
The guy that had
Aaron
brought you a
Donald.
championship.
bro? Do you trade Jalen Ramsey? I'm not saying this disrespectfully.
No, I get what you're saying.
These guys are absolute goats. They have, bro.
What you're saying is how much you commit to rebuilding.
What I'm saying is, if I'm the Rams, I'm posing you this question,
Yeah.
GM Bo, and it sounds like it's one of those things you don't want to say out loud. How much can you get for Jalen Ramsey? How much can you get for Aaron Donald? Aaron Donald probably wants to win. Aaron Donald deserves better than this.
I mean, that's a hard
Yeah,
one.
you sold your soul to win the Super Bowl. Aaron Donald does not deserve this the next couple of years, because a team with that roster picking a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6, no first, no second. Like, I don't know how they get out of this hole next year.
Bottom line is things are looking a little bit dark for the Rams.
Well, no. So the question is, do you do that? You could get a Tyreek Hill like Hall for one of those guys.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's a friend of mine. Okay, love the guy, respect the guy, think the world of him as a person, as a fucking player. I have not talked to him about anything like this. Like, it was in my head today. I was like, Aaron wanted to retire. So,
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
you think he wants to come back and play football after this? Like, I'm sure he will, because that's in his DNA. And it's easier said than done. Like, I'm done. Fuck this shit. I'm out. He very well might be happier somewhere like a contender. Like, there's a ton of teams that could use a corner. There's a ton of teams that could use a top 5 player in the NFL. Best defensive player in the NFL, depending on who you ask.
And plenty of teams willing to pay for that haul
Buku bucks,
to
bro.
get either one of those players.
So
that will bring it back to the Rams, and that will give those guys a spot to run to make a Super Bowl run.
I know this is this a hot take?
I would say it's pretty it's
warm.
getting there. Yeah. It's like near boiling.
Is it really?
I think it's pretty.
But
I
isn't
think
it
it's pretty
logical, though,
It's
to ask the
completely
question?
logical. You know, not many
I think
other
it's
people are
just
thinking
early,
of, but
you know,
Is it early?
I think you're kind of getting on this one early, man. I mean,
They
we gotta
suck.
see
but it's a great
They're not
point to
going
bring up.
anywhere. They might not go anywhere next year.
Yeah.
Stafford might be done.
Mm-hmm.
I like Stafford. I don't want.
Who's your number 2? Van Jefferson? Is it Robinson? It hasn't worked out. The O-line's all banged up. How healthy could the O-line get? How many guys are you going to be able to find in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th round? I guess you could keep foregoing capital and grab, a defensive player or 2 to bolster next year. I just feel like, man, they're not that good. There's a lot of holes in the roster. Anyways, don't mind me. I'm just lighting
I like
the
that.
podcast on fire with that.
Before we run through those last couple games, Cliff became the only coach in the Super Bowl era with a winning record as an underdog. He's now 17-16-1, and a losing record as a favorite, 11-14.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are now 11-3 on the road since 2021, best record in football. It's weird.
It's so weird. They're the weirdest team ever.
They're the weirdest team ever, and it's nice that we're getting a little view into the weirdest team ever on in-season Hard Knocks.
So what did we? So Reed, we missed Lions, Bears, Pittsburgh, New Orleans, and Denver, Tennessee. Run us through those because we didn't really see them.
So real fast, the Lions, big comeback. They scored 21 straight fourth quarter points. And it's the Lions' first victory when trailing by 14 plus entering the fourth quarter since Halloween night 1993. They had lost 98 previous such games. Jamal Williams had a 1-yard touchdown rush in the closing minutes. Goff had 236 yards and a touchdown. And they overcame a spectacular effort by Justin Fields. I mean, he said there's another one of those where you add, last 5 weeks he's been doing this, that, and the third.
It's amazing.
Just in another big running game. He had 147 yards rushing, 2 scores. He had 178 last week. The highest rushing total by an NFL quarterback in regular season games since at least 1940. Only quarterback in the Super Bowl era with multiple rushing touchdowns of 60-plus yards in the same season. He threw a pick 6 against the Lions and came right back and had a 67-yard touchdown rush. Reached the top-end speed of 20 miles an hour. We talked about that earlier.
Over the last 2 weeks, he outscored the Dolphins.
Yep.
They had a punt block for a touchdown. He had them in this game. Fucking kickers, right? Guy missed it. I mean, he had him winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
Defense blew it, and the kicker missed the kick. I didn't see all the throws in between. I'm sure he had a couple he wants back, but this kid is going places. He's going places. Dude.
And that confidence has got to be soaring. I mean, you heard early in the season, it's like, his confidence is in there. He's missing guys a little bit. Are the coaches, is it the right fit? And now he is slinging it
Walk through
and
this
moving.
casino, Reed, and ask, I'll pay you $100 if you can find me a guy that can name 5 people on the Bears offense.
Right, exactly.
Not name Cole Kmet.
I will 100% do that.
You know what I mean?
And,
like,
yeah.
Cody White.
Name an offensive lineman. No one can name an offensive
that's
lineman.
The thing is, like, he's just not surrounded by a bunch of talent. But you got Montgomery and
They're finally
and Herbert
building an offense out to his strength.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
No question.
Why
did it take 7 weeks?
11?
Right.
What the fuck?
Well, they didn't want to win too much. You know what I mean?
Pittsburgh,
Go Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, New Orleans. Welcome back.
What happened?
Welcome back, TJ Watt.
Yeah,
you look good.
The Steelers finally got to run the ball a little bit. Najee Harris, who has had a really hard time getting it going, he almost touched 100 yards for the first time this year. He went 99 on 20 carries. George Pickens had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett had a rushing touchdown. Pittsburgh ran for a season best 217 yards and had 0 turnovers the first time this season, or third time this season. They're 3-0 in all 3 of those games.
Pickett grown up? Is he growing up? He's feeling.
Yeah,
he
had a great game. The passing yards were still a little low. His yards per completion are still kind of at the bottom of the league, but no turnovers,
just
which
clean
from a
that
rookie
up,
quarterback,
That's all you need. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, and hey, it's a big shot in the arm to have TJ back. And the damn Saints are the most disappointing team in football.
Seriously.
Like, honestly, because the Bucks, they could still compete, right? They might win the division. They might do.
I mean, they should.
They could win a playoff game.
Right.
I don't know. The Packers, you still got Aaron Rodgers. I just felt like New Orleans was a lot better.
Everyone really did, and they've had some injuries on the in their wide receiver core. They have to rely on a rookie wide receiver who's really shown up for him. Yeah. But it seems like their defense isn't quite
There's
up to
a lot
the task.
of teams like that this season where preseason you're like, oh my god, this team is gonna be great. The Raiders.
Yeah. Rip the Band-Aid off on your Broncos, and then we can get to mentions and get out of here.
7 first quarter punts. Rough one. Yeah, I just kept looking up in the sports book, and it was 3 and outs. Our punter kept running on the field. Okay, another boom. But then we'd see Russ come right back and I'd be like, all right, we're in it. Russ is gonna, and he had a great shot down the field. Prayers up to Jerry Jeudy. I hope it's not a season ender. But yeah, it did not look good. Big shout out to Nick Westbrook-Akina. Tennessee had gotten 658 receiving yards from all their wide receivers combined over the first 9 weeks of the season. That was that graphic that you saw against A.J. Brown, where A.J. Brown had out-received the Titans receiver. He today had 119 yards and 2 touchdowns against the best secondary in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he showed up big. Ryan Tannehill was finding him. There was one where 2 defenders ran into each other. So, that's
Broncos football.
Yeah, Broncos football.
Yeah. Broncos country.
Broncos country, let's ride. Russell Wilson was, every time you look it up, he was getting sacked. 47.9%. He was pressured on his drop back, 6 sacks. He's been sacked 3+ times in 7 straight games, extends the longest streak of his career. He never been sacked in 6+, never had 6+ straight with Seattle.
It's so funny because the damn Broncos could be more like Tennessee.
Yep.
I mean, they don't have Derrick Henry, but they could play physical. They could muddy it up, but they're
lost in the sauce, man.
Lost in the sauce.
Giants Houston. We forgot about that game.
How
could you?
How could you? Giants are now 7-1 in games decided by 8 or fewer points, and 0-1 in games decided 8 or more points. They're the opposite Bills. The Bills blow teams out, but lose the close ones. And the Giants are 7-2 this season. Best start since 2008.
So that's not a quarterback stat, right? Even though Josh is messing, because you're not going to tell me that Daniel Jones is a better player than what it is Brian Dable's a hell of a football coach.
Isn't the Giants' schedule pretty weak?
They know exactly who they are. That's the thing about the Giants. They know exactly who they are. And some teams don't know who they are. Like we were just talking about Denver. I have no fucking idea who they are. And they have no idea who they are.
No one knows. Yeah. So we'll put the Band-Aid back on Denver.
Yeah. So the Giants started to bring them back up.
Yeah, all good. But Saquon, huge day, 135 yards rushing. Daniel Jones, 153.3 passer rating, highest passer rating in a game this season. The Giants seem to come into the game planning to run the ball against the league's worst defense. Jones handed the ball off 42 times to running the balls. He carried another 5 times himself. 191 yards rushing as a team. Big win to keep it rolling for the Giants.
Okay, so
quick mentions. What you like? Quick flights. Hit your flights real fast.
Yeah, I got some for that. I mean, we talked about the Vikings earlier. Kirk Cousins has been kind of wilding out in the flights. Maybe he got a little crazy on the one back from Buffalo. However, I want to say best flight and worst flight, quick combination, is Tampa Bay. Best flight for about 3 hours because you're flying home from Germany to Tampa, and you're like, oh, my God, we just got a fucking huge international win. This is electric. You know, you're kind of wilding out with the boys in the plane, and then you maybe take a nap, wake up. Hey, we're probably almost home. No, bitch, you got about 4 more hours of this flight left.
Yeah.
So that's the worst flight also. Combination of the best flight and the worst flight, but the true worst flight is the Seattle Seahawks flying all the way home from Germany to Seattle after a fucking loss. That's horrible.
Okay, so best flight to me, very clearly, the Vikings.
Yeah.
I mean, that had to be a riot. That flight had to be so fun.
Especially after a game like that.
So damn fun.
Such a roller coaster.
All the teammates are waiting for Kirk on the plane, like the Adam Sandler gif from the jewelry movie where he's holding up the chain.
Yep.
You talking about Uncut Jam?
Yeah. Holding it up for Kevin Gardner.
So I'm gonna go worst flight New Orleans, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
That sucks. Hey, you just lost to Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, you could have won the division this year,
Seriously.
but you've been fucking sleepwalking and Andy Dalton's been throwing the ball to the other team. That sucks.
Yep. A couple other. I want to do viewing party award. You know, that's a new one for me because usually we don't do that on Tuesday. But my viewing party award is obviously going to be the Vikings and the Bills while we're on that. But it's at the Sportsbook. How fucking electric was that? That was my first Sportsbook experience. I don't know if I've seen Chris. I don't know if I've seen you that excited since our Super Bowl win, man. You were fucking jumping into my arms.
Yeah, I was jumping.
I haven't seen Chris that excited since Carolina game 2 weeks ago.
Atlanta 2 weeks ago.
He took his shirt off.
DJ Moore until he took his helmet off. So I'll give you some more superlatives or mentions in a couple days.
More Miller-like mentions.
But I will say this: Bevel Conway was probably Bama Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I
Gorgeous.
mean, they probably wrapped that thing
And
up. I know you could say Denver or you could say Dallas and Green Bay.
That's what I
classic
have.
and
That's
everything.
a tired take, but that's a classic nostalgic NFC match.
But damn, I'll be damned if those Ole Miss powder blues don't look great in the cold.
I agree. Yeah.
You can
Every year, Alabama Ole Miss is just gorgeous.
SEC, cold weather. Fayetteville is freaking looks like the frozen tundra down there. Meaningful football is going on, man. It's November.
Yeah.
It was awesome, man. I wanted to shout this kid out. Okay. What's his name? Let me look real quick before we get to. Oh, yeah. Ohio State's Cameron Bob. Is that his name? Bob? First touchdown, 5th-year senior. He's torn his ACL 4 times. So that dude, shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
Ohio State in a blowout, gets this kid the ball. I don't know him. I was happy for him.
This season in the program, graduated with a degree in communications.
4 ACLs. And then shout out to Vandy. They won their first SEC game since 2019. And Will Levis, I don't know how high he's going to go, but losing to Vandy's tough.
Losing to Vandy's tough.
That being on the resume is tough for your boy if I'm a GM.
Yep, we might hear some more on that when Macon talks to Nicole Auerbach later in the show.
Coming
but we're going to hear from Robert Mathis talking some Indy Las Vegas.
We met the who's who of who's who's. We were hanging out with Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Guy's huge. He's going to come on the show. We're going to have him on
Later this week.
Later this week. We'll pop that out late in the week. And so enjoy Robert Mathis, who's about to join us now, and Nicole on the tail end of the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, as promised, I got Robert Mathis in the house. We've got Robert in the Blue Wire Studios, the fancy Blue Wire Studios. He was admiring the signage behind me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to have a great pass rusher in the building.
It is.
We also ran into
And Robert Mathis is here too.
Okay, that's funny. That's a fucking good one right up. You're on the fucking board.
On it, baby. Come
All
on.
right, so then we saw Lamar Houston and Trevor Scott in the hallway, so it's like a defensive
Saw
end.
Frosty Rucker around
Frosty
yesterday
Rucker, it's
too.
a pass
Another D
rusher
lineman.
convention
Yeah.
in the Wynn, bro.
Kind of fun.
Guys out here.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
guys out here. Starting with the one and only Robert Mathis. He's one of my favorite guys to watch, and he'd been on Green Light before, but it's good to catch up in person, man. How you doing?
Man, appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Having a good time. So
Yeah.
all good things come to an end. I got to fly out in the morning, but I appreciate being on the show.
Yeah,
but
hell
you-
yeah, man. We all
Full
got.
day for you though, man. You were at the game. You're at.
How
you're
was
at
the
Wynn.
stadium?
If there was anything that was classic Vegas, it's that stadium.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I think it's a new stadium and great atmosphere, but it was literally a club going on during the game behind me. So it's like they clearly didn't come to watch the game.
Yeah.
So it's like could be like 20,000 people back there clubbing and another 70,000 watching the game. So it was definitely Vegas.
Yeah, dude, I got to go there last year to watch the Eagles and the Raiders and how different things are now. Like the Eagles got boat raced last year, and Jalen didn't look that great, and now he's a fucking MVP candidate, and the Raiders look terrible,
Right.
which I'm sure you love to see. The Raiders looking terrible today.
Yeah. And it was more so because of, if you remember a couple years ago, Josh McDaniels, he back slid on us.
Yeah.
The coach, he was supposed
What
to.
happened there, dude?
I don't know. And I was actually a coach on the staff.
Were you really?
Yeah. But I guess that's what you get doing business with the Patriots.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, this is,
You know,
We a Patriots
shit.
pod,
I was there for a
Chris.
year. I got some
Yeah,
buddies
Chris
up there,
is
but I
a
definitely
Super
was
Bowl
looking over
winner
my
with the
shoulder.
Patriots,
I was
yeah.
looking over my shoulder. I was
Yeah.
looking over my shoulder. I was,
Man.
you can't assume, you're saying anything in that building that it's
Right.
not recorded or it's
Right.
not going back upstairs. Or,
You're under surveillance. It's
You know,
like
like,
1984 in there,
once
man.
We'd be bitching at our lockers, and we were kind of joking. I would joke about it. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I'd be like, I got to be careful what I'm saying. You know how buildings have like runners that run upstairs and tell people what the guys in the locker room are saying,
yeah.
that sort of thing.
we call them snitches.
Snitch.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be. Yeah, but it is. It is what it is.
Well, it's like when you go to like a sketchy Airbnb, you kind of look around to see if there's any like hidden cameras or hidden mics anywhere, except for this is like, you're in Foxborough.
I don't want
so you
Bill
feel like
Belichick hearing what I'm complaining about the practice script. Dude.
it's going to get back to him
yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
And us as players, we couldn't really talk about that. It just sounded like, okay, you're just crying over spilled milk. But yeah, that stuff was real.
Yeah.
They were listening.
Yeah.
I remember
Maybe.
another story.
Well,
when-
I'm sure it's different even too, because you said like you were on staff at that point. So like,
yeah.
people talk up there upstairs too.
That's so
you know?
interesting. The Josh thing was interesting, and I would love to know what the hell happened there because it seemed like but maybe we're never going to know. You were on the staff there, and one of the hot button topics this week was obviously we were talking about it off mic. Jeff Saturday, right? Like guy you played with, guy that seems like, and I never played with him, but I got to know him a little bit, is just revered by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the only guy that could make this work where people aren't really pissed off about it. And you had an interesting take on this whole thing. What is Jim Irsay thinking, and how would you feel if you were on the staff? Because that's what a lot of people are talking for Kevin Mawai, and they're talking for, who else is on that staff? There?
Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne. Is Cato there?
Cato June.
Yeah.
Wasn't it John Fox?
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Fox. He has head coaching experience.
Yeah.
So how would you feel, and why do you think he did it?
Because I know him, I got to speak from a personal standpoint. If there was maybe 2 or 3 guys that can pull that off, it's him.
Yeah.
Because he was the true leader, like in all departments during our run in the 2000s. He was the guy that would get in your face as a player. He would go check coaches if need be. He would go to the front office, let them have it too.
Yeah.
He was a guy. He represented I guess, the epitome of what coach is. And him coming in, I know he's a leader of men. So with no coaching experience, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
But I know Jim Irsay, he thinks outside the box. If you think you're gonna guess what he's gonna do, he's gonna hit you with one of these moves.
Playing 3D chess, man.
So from a personal standpoint, and what I know of him, I'm with it.
Yeah.
From a coaching standpoint,
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's interesting because you saw that press conference with, Irsay and Chris Ballard and, Jeff Saturday, and it was kind of long. There was a lot going on there, but then
They did it during Monday Night Football too, which was slick.
But then Jeff Saturday
So
came
then
in
they were
and
like,
he
"Let's sneak
crushed the
this."
next,
Yeah.
conference, and he was upfront with the media, and he was very direct. And then I think same thing, like what you said. He's a leader of men. He says, "I know what it takes to be successful at this level. I've been around it." And the Colts played really hard today. I think it's funny how something so simple as just motivating the guys to play really hard. I think it seems so simple, but it can really go a long way. And they look pretty good today, and they got to win.
Also, what I do know, you got to give Jim Irsay his props. He knows football. He has a high IQ, and he wants to get back to what we were.
Yeah.
And you bring Jeff in there, you got to just automatically think that's the segue to Peyton.
Yeah.
You got to get Peyton in that building in some shape, form, or fashion. I think if it's going to happen, Jeff is the guy to get him in that building.
So you think he's playing chess that way?
I do.
Peyton's watching Jeff and seeing hey,
I do. I know
if
Peyton
Jeff Saturday can do it, I can do it. A little jealousy there, a little
he's saying-
competition.
he's
Not
saying
coaches,
he's-
like front office.
he wants
type,
him to be in the front office.
Interesting,
Some boss type stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
Why hasn't he come back? You think it's just he's just got a good gig out there? Or?
Yeah, Peyton is a type. He wants ownership, front office type.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to do the coaching per se. But if it's one guy that can get him in, it may be Jeff.
That's so
Because
interesting.
Peyton has a lot going on.
Yeah.
And he looked like he enjoying himself. So
Yeah.
but that's kind of what I see. I can see that happening.
Another thing that's crazy about, Jeff coming back and decision they make this week is you're a vet on that team. Let's say you're Quentin Nelson or you're somebody that you kind of walk a line between knowing when to hit the reset button on a team. Are we good enough to keep giving this an honest try, to risk the $17 million that you might have to pay Matt Ryan if he gets dinged, right? Because if he's hurt the third day of the league year next year, and he can't pass the physical, they're on the hook for 17. So the thinking was, it seemed like this team was dead, right? And Jeff comes in and he's like, no, we're going to play Matt Ryan.
Jeff doesn't give a damn about any of that.
He wants to win, right?
He wants to win because we were on that 2011 2-14 team.
Yeah.
And like I said, Jeff was the captain. We were all there. Freeney, myself, Reggie, Dallas Clark, Gary Brackett, all these guys. And so we know what it's like to have a suck season. And we're not going to – and I know he's not the type that's going to lay down.
Right.
So he's coming in. He wants to win, put Matt Ryan back in, get the O-line going, and I guess they got it reinvigorated. So it looks – that's how it looked.
They're not out of it to you?
No.
Yeah.
No. But they got a stretch coming up that's kind of brutal. You got the Eagles, you got the Vikings, you got Giants, and we're about to see what they're made of now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dallas, you got the whole NFC East.
Yeah.
So we're about to find out.
And how about Matt Ryan running 17 miles an hour?
I saw that. He looked like a more mobile Carson Wentz. That's what I said to Chris when I saw
what it
that.
said?
17. I hit up Reed and I was like, dude, we got to get the NGS stats.
Yeah, I don't believe that. 17? No.
You think they fabricated
Yeah,
that?
they big fluffed that one.
Because honestly, I did not have him at 17. If Justin Fields was going 20 miles an hour on that touchdown run today, you can't tell me that Matt went 17.
It was funny. You know, how gassed he was.
We might be truthers on this thing or something because, the radar gun's not working.
17 miles, no, sir.
We were clocking him. We had that.
But how fucking scared do you think Jim Irsay was when he was running 17 miles an hour? Like, if this dude's hamstring explodes and we owe him $17 million, I'm gonna be fucking mad, dude.
Matt Ryan's a big hydration guy. His hamstring would
he's
never go.
hydrated.
He was ready to
No,
go.
he's not fast enough to pull his damn hamstring. That's why I never pulled my hamstring.
17.
Rob, one thing we were talking about too is like, you know, Jeff Saturday, obviously a highly accomplished player, but when you go from, you know, football is evolving, and it feels sometimes like a year in NFL time is like a decade in normal people time. And it's funny to watch how the game evolves over time. And Chris and I were saying, like, we're kind of old heads now, right? So we're over here in the sportsbook watching the game, bitching about younger players and, you know, how flashy they are, like how they'll celebrate, like a DB will celebrate a PBU when it's like a ball that sailed over a wide receiver's head and stuff like that, you know, or like the thing that kills me is like a interior defensive lineman like going crazy after a tackle for like a 4-yard gain, you know, something like that. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, like, if you have any old head gripes, you know, that you want to make about the game these days, because when you're an old player, you're a little bit of a hater, you know.
I
you
definitely
still think that you got it. Like the three of us, you could roll us out there on the field today, and we could play in our minds, you know. So I was wondering if you have any kind of comments along those lines of you know, little old head gripes about the game or defensive linemen that you want to make.
Before I get into quarterbacks, because I'm always going at the quarterback.
Right.
This I guess the last 2 or 3. Well, it started with the COVID year, where the defense make a play and everybody runs into the end zone.
Yes, and it's a whole production, man.
Doing that little deal, like, bruh, what are y'all doing?
And like, come on, come on.
Like, they started
You got to
doing
get the
that.
picture for the gram, dude. That's what that's for real.
They did start doing that towards the end there.
Yeah.
And like, I think my last year they were doing it, and I was like, dude, we have to fucking play defense for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You get a pick six,
like,
and
I'm
you got to
sorry.
run everyone in the end zone. It's exhausting.
And you know,
celebrating
like
sometimes,
you know, like Schwartz or whatever, like D coordinators would
Celebrate
be
with
like,
your teammates.
go celebrate. I'm like, yeah, if they want to celebrate right here, I will celebrate all day with them. But if they want to run 40 yards down the field, that's not my business.
Anything beyond 20 yards,
we can celebrate on the sideline, or else we'll see you after.
You
the
ran
game,
a good ways sometimes after sacks, but that's
give
just
it to
you.
him now.
That's
You gotta give
you.
it to
But
him.
that's you. Like, you know, if like Robert Quinn after sack ran 30 yards, like to celebrate on the logo, I'm not going with you, big guy.
Hey,
Like,
if I make the best play of my career, I'm doing one of these.
yeah, just one of those to get to the fucking
I'm
get
really
to the
feeling
sideline.
good. Yeah,
Get to the
I'll
sideline.
see you guys on the sideline.
So what about the quarterbacks, man?
Oh man, where do we start? How much they just first off, it's inconsistent. With what? Okay, are you protecting them? What are we doing? Can they not chip their fingernail polish? I mean, what are we doing? But it was Chris Jones. They played the Colts a couple weeks back. He got up and said something to Matt Ryan and got a flag, and that turned the game.
They're getting protected emotionally too, man.
Tom Brady gets tackled. He got tackled by Grady Jarrett, a flag, and that turned the game. Yeah. And there was another incident that I forgot, but we can't. What can they do? What can't they do in regards to quarterbacks? You can't say anything to them.
Yeah.
You can't tackle them. You can't push them. You can't do nothing. So it's tougher to be a pass rusher in today's game, I feel, than when we came up. But those are my gripes. It's like, man, we always say soft. I don't want to say soft.
No, I love
but
that.
The only word I can think about is soft. Yeah. So
I want that was a really big penalty, man. The Chris Jones penalty. I want to say it's funny. Like the Chiefs, one of their only losses this year was to y'all, and you know that was the last drive of the game. And Chris Jones got up and said something, and I'm still wondering to this day what the fuck he said.
I'm wondering as well.
Can you get that information? You ask somebody at the Colts, hey, what did Chris Jones say, dude? Because how bad could it be to get 15 yards?
And I remember as a player how much stuff is said on that
Seriously,
field. Like
disrespectful.
What could he have
like,
possibly said?
Yeah.
That for that, you know.
Yeah.
Or like a guy will say something to you and you're just like, oh shit, and then just you're kind of moving on.
Yeah,
it's kind of like part of the thing. You're not even that worried about it, but for him to say something that kind of really stopped the presses and got a, you know,
it turned the game.
Here's a question for you, Rob. Like you said, you know, how much protection quarterbacks get and stuff like that. And these days, it feels like these quarterbacks are huge. Like Josh Allen, we're watching him today. He's like 6'5", yoked up, and we always complain about how hard it was to sack Cam Newton, you know, a couple years ago. Is there anyone like who was the hardest guy back in your heyday? It's like where you can get a clean win and then you still have to sack the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
like there's a lot of fucking athletic big quarterbacks like Ben Roethlisberger comes to mind.
Interesting story. My rookie year, 2003, we're playing Buffalo. Drew Bledsoe.
Friend of the podcast.
He was just here.
Yeah.
Did you see
We
him
had the
here?
Sportsbook with him today.
He was
Great guy.
I
He's
missed
huge.
him.
He's a big fucking guy.
Me, Dwight Freeney, and Gary Brackett were all hanging on him.
Yeah.
Get him down, and they blew the whistle, and we still couldn't get him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is my rookie year. I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was a big dude, but the hardest QBs were Big Ben and Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve McNair.
I mean, they both cut because they could both run.
Yeah.
And they're strong. They would stiff arm you to the ground.
Yeah.
Run you over, run through you, run around you, run past you. And it was just a beast trying to get those guys down. And I was actually drafted by the coach, my D-line coach, John Tierling. He said, we drafted you and Dwight to go chase Steve McNair because he was giving them problems
Yep.
down in Tennessee. And so he was the reason I was drafted. A big reason.
No
So,
question.
yeah, but those are the two biggest guys to tackle.
Who was your favorite guy to sack? Because we played in Philly and we
Tom
loved Eli.
freaking
Yeah.
Brady.
Tom
All
Brady.
day.
Yeah.
All day.
Tom Brady.
Because it was so hard. It was because it was like 2 seconds
Yep.
from snap to throw.
Yeah.
It was tough to get to him. So you can get to him and get him
He takes
down.
it personally, too.
They do. So whenever you get him early and he starts bitching at his O-lineman,
Yeah.
got you. We got you now.
Yeah, if you see him yelling and shit.
We got you now.
What do you think? Do you think the Rodgers stuff, like he looked like he turned the corner a little bit today? They started figuring it out a little bit with Watson and that sort of thing. He had a bunch of catches. And do you think it's as simple as, hey, they're not, there's not enough weapons out there? Do you think it's that simple for him?
I do. I mean, he's talent-wise, he's like 1, 2 ever talent, arm talent.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anybody to throw it to, you're mediocre.
Yeah,
They're having a mediocre season because he doesn't have anybody to throw it to.
no question.
Like with Peyton, he had Marvin Harrison first round, Reggie Wayne first round, Dallas Clark first round, Adrian James first round, Joseph Adai first round. He had people around him, and on top of him being a generational talent, that he produced what he produced.
How hard was that? Like, did they used to, when you go in a team period, they used to run that kind of checks at the line. I remember we used to play y'all, and we'd get down our stance, be tired. My arm would be tired. Waiting for Peyton to get settled. And, You know what I mean? Like, I'd be on a knee, and our coach would be yelling at us, like, don't fucking take a knee, bro. He'll snap the ball. Like, did you guys used to have to rep against that in practice?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I had the pleasure of playing against him 2013 when he was in Denver.
Yeah.
And I took a knee because I knew he was about to go through all this. When you play with some practice with somebody like him and Andrew Luck, I started to pick up on their cadence. Like I know when this is for real, and I know when this is some Omaha stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it was absolutely.
Do you think Andrew Luck could still play if he gave it 6
If he wanted to, yes. He's Andrew Luck. He just want to read books and just be Andrew Luck, man.
Yeah, and the burnout's real.
He was burnt out.
Yeah, I can even, as a pass rusher, life's hard enough, but I can only imagine if you get blamed for everything and you're not getting protected.
Come on.
How about this? Defensive Player of the Year this year. There's a few guys up there at the top, but unlike in years past, there's just no Aaron Donald's having by his standards, down year statistically. It's hard to rush on a team like that right now.
Right.
That Myles Garrett's, their team's pretty suspect at the moment.
Yeah.
So DPOY, there's Micah, there's Nick Bosa, Judon's been talked about. Who else
We're a little partial to Quinnen Williams. We
Quinnen
had him on the
Williams
pod
is
last
balling.
week. He's been playing really well.
Who do you like, man?
If you think I'm gonna name anybody outside of a pass rusher, you're you're tripping.
This is a D-line pod. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parsons.
Yeah.
And Bosa.
Yeah.
Those are I think it's a 2-man race.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I love Myles Garrett. If I you watch some guys and you're like, man, if I could just steal one guy. You know the movie Like Mike, where you're like, if I could get some let me get some Myles Garrett shoes.
Yeah.
It'd be Myles Garrett, just 6'5", 285 with that bend and that
Be able
ankle
to do
dorsiflexion.
the ghost technique.
Yeah.
at
I just want to know
285.
just let me wake up for a day.
This
He's the best pure pass rusher in the league, in my opinion, and this is coming from an elite pass rusher.
Now, that's
You don't think so?
pure pass rusher. How do we define pure pass rusher?
He has
When
so many,
people say that, what
he
do we
has so
what do
many
we mean?
moves in the bag? Like, I think that you could line him up as a 0, as
No.
a 2-eye, as a 3-tech, as a 1 technique, as a
Give me a
5,
top
as
three.
a 9.
Give me top 3. in the
Well, I
game.
mean, I think we kind of just named it. If we're talking about DPOY, if I'm talking about
no,
pure
no,
athletic-
that's
Garrett,
Just
Nick
best
Bosa,
pass rushers.
Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett, and Micah Parsons.
You did
my
not
opinion.
name TJ Watt. TJ Watt does not fucking stop, dude.
No,
TJ Watt is like in Terminator when he just won't die. You know, the bad Terminator
Yeah.
that killed the lady through the milk carton with the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just won't stop.
You're talking
dude.
about
That's-
Terminator 2.
Whatever the fuck it is.
He's an elite version of Kyle Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Rob. Is like I was first and second down grinding
funny,
nose
yeah.
guard. Okay, so like I never got the opportunity to pass rush, so I love watching pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm figuring out like, okay, if I get one fucking rep, this is what I'm gonna hit. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like you have to steal rushes when you're only playing in base on first and second down.
True.
And so that's why I kind of love watching all these pass rushes. Why it's so fun to talk to you and Chris sometimes.
So
you know?
so this is funny. I
Wait,
used to fucking
Brian Burns,
yeah,
Burns
yeah,
in Carolina.
yeah,
he's
Now,
pretty good
that's a pure rusher right there.
yeah.
because he's not setting an edge.
Yeah, He's going to get the quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to,
Especially on a bad team,
If
you know?
if I want to now, hey, how about Justin Houston still playing good?
Playing really good.
Yeah, even
still
that,
productive.
what's that? Is that the class of 2011?
It's a great class.
It's like 5 guys with
Robert
100
Quinn,
sacks.
Robert Quinn,
J.J. Watt,
J.J. Watt,
was Von Miller,
and
Justin Houston.
and the guy who just retired up in Washington, Kerrigan.
Ryan Kerrigan, and Cam Jordan.
Yep, great rushers, man. You know, if I was to tell you my favorite guy that I love watch playing, and I know he's not the best, but he's up there, is Zadarius Smith. He is just a fucking dog, dude. And he can move up and down the line.
Yeah.
And he can win with, he's not got speed like you had, but what he has, and I'm partial to watching power rushers sometimes because I can relate a little bit more to how
Right.
they, and he just every game he disrupts, even if he doesn't have 3 sacks. Other people eat off him. So my favorite probably right now, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons. I put TJ Watt up there, Myles Garrett, and then who did I just mention?
I like Matt Judon too. I mean, I think he has 12 sacks this year, but they do a lot of interesting stuff. They
get
ask
guys
those guys
free,
to
too.
do a lot in New England. Like we were
Yeah.
just shitting on them earlier, but you know,
Yeah.
those edge rushers in New England have a lot of freedom.
DPOY is anybody's race this year, man. I mean, like the guy with the most sacks in the league is Matt Judon, 11.5 sacks. So we'll see. How about your Parks and Rec question?
So this is a little off basis, but
it's funny. Like you get to meet Robert Mathis. You're like,
Well,
great football
obviously, I
player,
wanna
but
talk to
I'm
him
really
about
excited
football.
about Parks and Rec.
So I want to ask you about Parks and Rec because I love Parks and Rec, right? And you had the pleasure of joining Leslie Knope and the gang on the show, and I had to ask you about it, because I think that's so fun, man.
It was fun. It was how they brought it to us. It was like after practice.
Oh, really?
It was myself, Luck, and Reggie Wayne that particular year, and they was like, they need y'all to do some skits. I'm like, man, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so they told us what it was, and like, oh, okay, it's pretty harmless. We'll do it. So we had to go all the way downtown to the stadium and film it. And they said, here are your lines. And so now I have a great respect for actors. It took me quite a few takes just to do that little what I just said. And it was a fun deal. And so I didn't know much about Parks and Rec
love that show, man.
Until that. And so a lot of people gave me a lot of shit after they saw that. So it was a good time. It was a good time.
Well, it's funny because like sometimes during the season you sign up for stuff, or like people in the building will approach you about like media events or some charity stuff, and you're like, yeah, I got you. And then the day rolls around, and you're like, this is the last fucking thing I want to do, So,
Well, especially if you haven't seen the show. Like
I'm telling you, man, Parks and Rec's a great show. I
I
love it.
didn't know it was as pop because I didn't know about it. And it's like,
Yeah, a lot of people came out of the woodwork. Like you're like, oh shit, you watch that show too? Here's my last question, because you just talking about Kyle Vandenbosch, it triggered something in my brain. When I was in college, my dad, I had a little DVD player, and he was like, watch this guy. He's like, you need to have effort. Like You know,
Man.
so I had my little DVD. You know, back in the day,
Yeah.
we actually
Yeah.
had to, we got it out of the mud.
Hey,
dude.
we
We
didn't
had
have
DVDs
huddle.
and
We didn't
shit.
have huddle in high school, bro.
VHS.
We couldn't just chop up highlight tapes. You know?
Yeah. We come from the Walkman era. So it made me wonder, you know, like I used to watch Van den Bosch. Like, who did you watch when you were a young player? Like, hey, even when you were in college, you know, who did you think this is a good guy for me to comp and model my game after realistically?
Actually, Derek Thomas. I watched him growing up, and that's why the way I tackle quarterbacks is I watched him. The tomahawk, secure the sack, and tomahawk the ball out is by watching him. And after that, it became that's when Javon Curse came on the scene.
Yeah.
Because he was like the first, well, outside of Derek Thomas, the first speed edge guy.
Yeah.
Although he 6'5" or whatnot. And then really Dwight and myself, we were the first, I guess, short guys. So,
Yeah.
and then now it's just, man, you got speed. It's just everywhere. It's all everywhere now.
Well, Doomerville.
Doomerville.
So he came
John
was
Randall,
06, a few years after. But yeah, he was shorter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
We got
dude.
the movement going.
Well, it's
look
really,
at Aaron
it's,
Donald,
it's
man.
about arm length, not height.
His arms is long.
It's about
as-
arm length. You know what I mean? Like, what good is it for me to be 6'6"? I mean, you know, unless I'm
Yeah.
just going to be stuck at the line doing this
Doing
the
that.
whole game. So, how many forced fumbles do you have, Robert Mathis? Do you know off the top of your head?
50-something.
I'm about to tell you right now.
Wow.
It's fucking insane.
Taking the over or under?
54.
Incredible.
It's insane.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
One of the all-time greats, man. Robert Mathis. Appreciate the time, man. Appreciate
Oh,
the thoughts.
thanks
and
for
thoughts
having me.
and
Had a great
everything,
time.
man. Yeah, dude. Great seeing you.
Oh yeah, we still
Come
hate
on,
we
come
still
on.
hate quarterbacks.
We do. We do. Even though I'm on fucking vacation with one right now, and we were hanging out with Drew Bledsoe in the fucking. You know what?
Yeah, he's not here right now though.
Fuck those
him.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's sweet. Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.